This morning, the Asian markets are under a lot of pressure, actually. The last time I checked, the Nikkei market was down about 670 odd points. The SGX Nifty is indicating that the start will be in the red. Remember, a lot of it played out on Friday itself. The Nifty fell almost 140 points from the highs of trade on Friday. And by the time it ended, we closed at the low point, down about half odd percent or so. Let's see SGX Nifty indicating some more red on the screen today. But let's kickstart our top 10 segment. First up, we're going to talk about DHFL and the news flow on that one. Abhishek joins in to give us more. Hi, Abhishek.
Good morning, Sonia. So, CRISIL has downgraded ratings on the commercial papers of Diwan Housing to about A2 plus from A1, and they continue to keep the ratings under negative watch. However, the rating downgrade is on 850 crores of commercial papers versus 1,525 crores that they had earlier. So, the pain in rating is actually reducing, and CRISIL has also withdrawn rating on the short-term deposits of about rupees 1,000 crore in DHFL, as the company has been able to repay the depositors. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So DHFL, watch out for that one. Ekta, you alerted us to some warnings coming from the US Drug Authority on Glenmark on Friday itself.
Absolutely, and in fact we had broken the story a couple of days earlier when the inspection took place, plus the 5 observations. So now we've accessed those 5 observations which were issued by the US FDA to Glenmark's Goa facility. Largely in terms of the observations, they look procedural, but it could probably take some amount of time to resolve. The uncertainty would probably weigh on the stock because Glenmark's Goa facility is one of its most important facilities when it's in terms of supplies to the US.
Okay, that's serious. Sonia, Interglobe has been having it better than other airlines. Any news today?
Yes, in fact, you know, the stock, ever since Jet's grounding news came out, the stock has gone up almost 80% in just 6 months. So if you pull up a 6-month chart, you'll see the move. Expectedly, a lot of brokerages have upgraded. Credit Suisse has upgraded Interglobe to an outperform from a neutral. They've raised the target price further. They expect it to be 1650 from 1,075 earlier on. The same thing, you know, Jet's capacity withdrawal will reduce Indigo's risk of a potential yield squeeze because of the strong capacity addition. There are many benefits for Interglobe as Jet's planes get grounded. They say there are more slots for Interglobe now, a wider customer base as businesses will choose Interglobe over Jet Airways. Flying international routes will get a bigger fillip now. Also, Credit Suisse says that it may be difficult to find a new partner and restore a full scale to Jet Airways even eventually. Lessors may withdraw their planes given global demand post the MAX 8 issue. The government's stake in rescuing Jet also reduces as the bulk of passengers' inconveniences have increased. So all of this will mean more business for Interglobe Aviation. There's also a hurry to get other airlines like Interglobe to partially absorb Jet's employees, and that's also a benefit. So Credit Suisse, what they've done is they've revised FY19, FY20 and FY21 earnings for Interglobe Aviation. FY19 earnings has been revised higher. FY20 earnings has been revised to 52 rupees from 35 rupees earlier on better yield prospects and also a change in crude and forex. So 1650 is the target price that they have on Interglobe Aviation.
Okay, that's Interglobe. Ekta, what about Dr. Reddy's?
Well, positive news because their R&D facility in Hyderabad got inspected by the US FDA and no observations issued there. And they've also given an update to the exchanges with regards to a particular litigation which is ongoing. And the US court has basically dismissed the plaintiff, which is basically the company that Dr. Reddy is defending itself against, claims in 17 out of 22 statements. So that should be a partial relief for Dr. Reddy's, and they aim to defend themselves against other statements as well. So overall, positive news coming in for Dr. Reddy's.
Okay, good to hear that, isn't it? We spoke earlier in the show about yield inversion. That is, globally we are going to see yields falling, and therefore the yields will fall in India as well. Usually that's public sector banks positive and NBFC positive. But we must remember this is coming along with slowdown blues. So, I can't bet on it, but it would be a relative outperformance that you will see from public sector banks. So watch out for PNB, SBI, BOB, and for slightly healthier NBFCs. Watch out for companies like L&T Finance, for instance, or MMFSL, or even Edelweiss.
Okay, well, moving on, Relcom and Relinfra, the ADAG stocks refuse to move out of the news. Nimesh is here to tell us the latest there. Nimesh?
Hi, Sonia. So there are fresh disclosures now on the exchanges for both RCom and Reliance Communication and Reliance Infra. In case of Reliance Communication, one of the promoter entity which owns 17.5% stake has pledged additional 4.5% stake with lenders IndusInd Bank. So with this fresh pledge shares, of the total 17.5% stake which one of the promoter entity owns, close to 10% is now pledged with the lender. So further red for Reliance Communication into this trade. Similar is the case with Relinfra as well. In that case, one of the promoter entity has pledged close to 1.6%, which is 41 lakh shares, with the lenders. The total promoter holding in Reliance Infra is close to 49%, and out of that 49%, close to 84% is pledged with the lenders. So fresh pledging would mean that there is further pressure on both Reliance Communication and Reliance Infra in today's trade.
Okay, let's watch out. Actually, Reliance Communications continuously went up 10% in the past week for 3 days. But, well, 10% is 40 pies, given it's a penny stock now. Nevertheless, let's see if those gains reverse. Anisha, there are reports on appliance makers cutting prices?
Oh, well, yes, Lata, this is something we have been pointing out of how the muted consumer sentiment and delayed summer has led up to the pile-up in the inventory to as high as 3 months for some of the AC products. And there might be some price cuts coming for the consumers. And this is exactly what the pink papers are talking about. So they say that the appliance makers have had to cut prices anywhere between 5 to 20% on slow-moving products and some of these bulky products like ACs and refrigerators. And these include the likes of Voltas, Hitachi, Panasonic, LG, Samsung, etc. So this price cut would mean additional pressure on the margins, as well as it gives you the indication that the pickup is not really strong, giving the pressure on the top line as well. So not good news for the likes of Voltas, Blue Star, Hitachi, etc.
Okay, tepid demand across the board, whether it's autos or even appliance makers. But Anuj, you're looking at a couple of stocks as well this morning?
Yes, Sonia, a couple of stocks. First is Maruti. It's at the cusp of breaking a 52-week low. Now stocks, it didn't do well even in the market which was going up. So there's a good chance that if 52-week low breaks, there could be some heavy selling on this stock and production cut, everything going negative for the stock. So that's something to watch out for. And the contra to that is Asian Paints. Crude's down. Friday there was some buying. And generally at times like this, you see some kind of buying in consumption names. That's also happening, by the way. So that's something to watch out for. So one red and one green, and same logic. You buy stocks close to 52-week highs and sell close to 52-week lows from the trading point of view. So that's something to watch out for.
Okay, well, here's a quick recap then of our top stocks. In fact, stocks with positive news flow this morning: Interglobe Aviation, Dr. Reddy's, Bank of Baroda, PNB, SBI, L&T Finance and Edelweiss. So that's the list of green stocks that you can see on your screen. While the stocks with negative news flow this morning, you have Glenmark, there's DHFL, Reliance Communication, Reliance Infra, Voltas, Hitachi and Whirlpool. But a very interesting report that Credit Suisse has written on the technology space. Rima's here to tell us more about that. Hi, Rima.
Hi, Sonia. Thanks so much for that. Well, it's premised on the rupee appreciation. They say the rupee has appreciated against the dollar by 7% in the last 6 months, and 3% in fact has come in the month of March. And a continued strength in the Indian rupee will hurt the margins and weigh on the IT companies' valuations. Now they're saying roughly an appreciation of the rupee impacts IT companies in 3 ways. One, there is a drop in margins. Secondly, translation losses on dollar-denominated assets like your receivables and unbilled revenues. And this is partly offset by the hedges, the gains on your hedges. So net-net, rough math tells you a 1% change in the USD INR impacts margins negatively by 20 to 30 basis points, or the EBIT, overall absolute EBIT, by 2%. And historically, currency moves have shown up in margins on a pretty immediate basis. But I think the bigger point that they're trying to drive is the impact on growth, and if there will be. What they're saying is that in 2018, we saw the currency depreciate. That was used by the companies to make investments, which helped the companies capitalize on the improved demand. Now the companies face a conundrum. If they choose to protect their margins at a time when the rupee is appreciating, will they have to cut back on their investments? And if they do that, will it impact their growth in the coming few quarters? And that is the key point. Also, they say that purely, stock market related, they say INR-led EPS upgrades, which we saw in 2018, will now ebb. Back to you.
Okay, that's interesting. Rima, just to add to that, there are people who believe that this month India may report a current account surplus, given the deep fall in trade deficit that we saw in February. These are always months where dollar flow is higher, exporters bring back their dollars and stuff like that. But current account surplus is expected because of the fall in crude prices. So that explains the strength of the dollar and therefore the problems for IT companies. Watch out for these as well. We have to take a quick break. When we are coming back, we will have all our chart experts with us, Ashwini Gujral, Sudarshan Sukhani and Mitesh Thakkar, to tell us what the charts are saying, whether yield inversion will dominate the Indian mind space as well.